Welcome everybody and thanks for being here. Our webinar today is titled Using SmartMusic in the General Music Classroom. My name is Giovanna Cruz and I am one of two Education Services Managers here at Make Music. My colleague is Lee Calistad. He's not here today with us, but he's with us in spirit. So I am a cellist and former music educator. I have over 10 years of experience between playing in orchestras, chamber music ensembles, doing a little bit of teaching in higher ed, as well as 7 years of classroom experience teaching orchestra in the Austin Independent School District. And 4 years ago, I was hired out of the classroom to come work for Make Music as an education manager. My colleague Lee is a veteran educator with 29 years of music education under his belt, and he's been with Make Music since 2003. And in that capacity, he's presented clinics all over the country. As education managers, we present voice of the customer feedback. We create a lot of e-learning and YouTube content to help you learn how to use our software. We also do virtual training for SmartMusic, in-person training, create clinics and materials for Finale and SmartMusic events at music educators conferences. And we present clinics at those conventions as well. Today we have with us two very special guests who are also Make Music employees. The first one is Suzanne Whitney. She works in the customer success department at Make Music, and she works with educators and Smart Music development teams to bring content that is very up to date to the Smart Music Help Center. Her goal is to put answers to all your burning Smart Music questions right at your fingertips. Suzanne has been teaching voice and choir privately for the past 8 years. Her students range from kinder music students all the way to adult community members. Suzanne earned a Bachelor of Music from Illinois Wesleyan University and a Master of Music in Vocal Performance and Pedagogy from CU Boulder. Ryan is our current social media manager at Make Music, where he develops and distributes professional development content to music educators across the country. Ryan also serves as vice president of TIME, which is the Technology Institute for Music Educators, where he helps music teachers use technology in their classrooms and connects educators with the music industry. Ryan is a former middle school band teacher and private low brass studio instructor. He is a graduate of Baylor University, and he studied jazz pedagogy and musicology at the University of Colorado Boulder. He remains an active performer in the Denver area, and he also teaches music history at Metropolitan State University of Denver. A little bit of housekeeping. So throughout this webinar, if you have any questions, please chat them to me. So on screen, you should see a picture of this webinar meeting. And right above my face, you should see a little chat option. Click on that and a little window will pop underneath where you can type in your questions. Please send them to me and then I will collect them and we can answer them either as we go or maybe a little bit at the end. Okay? If you are on a mobile device, like an iPad, for example, that's how you are able to find that chat window. Okay, so I'm going to run a little poll right here just to see who is using currently SmartMusic. So I'm going to open this poll. Please let me know if you are using SmartMusic or not yet. Great, so the answers are starting to come in. We have a couple of classic SmartMusic users. And it looks like just about one new SmartMusic user and 7 people who are not using SmartMusic just yet. And then a couple that haven't answered the poll question just yet. Looks like the majority are not using it yet. Okay, I can see that. That's wonderful. Well, this is great because then we're going to raise awareness here and show you some ways in which you can use this software in your general music classroom. So thank you for that. It looks like 67% are not yet using SmartMusic, 8% are using new, and about 17% are using classic. Thank you so much. I'm going to close that poll now and come back to the meeting over here. All right, so Smart Music and the general music classroom. There's many different materials that you can use in Smart Music. A lot of people tend to think that is a piece of software that is only good for bands and orchestras and choirs, but it turns out that you can use it in your general music classroom as well. Some of the materials that you can use are the beginner method books, whether they're for bands, for strings, the recorder methods, or guitar methods. There's lots of materials for singing. You can use it for listening comprehension, rhythmic comprehension, melodic and harmonic comprehension, and also for music literacy. So our idea today is to show you some ways in which you can use Smart Music in all of these different ways. So we'll start with beginner method books. And this list right here just shows you some of the method books that are available in there. So if you teach strings in your general music class or have a unit about strings and you want to introduce some concepts, or if you run, for example, a Suzuki strings program in elementary school, those methods are in there. We have several band methods as well, a couple of guitar methods, and a couple of recorder methods that you can see. I'm going to share with you in the email that you're going to get after this webinar, along with a recording of the webinar, we're going to share this sheet with you, which has sort of a summary of all the different types of content that would be applicable to a general music classroom. Okay, so let me show you what these methods look like. Every time you open a book in Smart Music, whether it's a string, a band instrument method, a guitar method, or a recorder method, what you're going to find is that you can see the music on screen. Each one of the exercises from the method book is going to have live accompaniments. So students are going to be able to hear the background, and that's going to help them play better. Fingerings are available and can be displayed on screen after clicking a couple of times. You're going to have the ability to show a loop for repetition. The music can be slowed down for practice. And then when students use Smart Music as well, they can play along and practice and record themselves with Smart Music and receive immediate feedback. So I'm going to show you a little video here that demonstrates some of the methods in each one of these categories. So you're going to see a line from a band method book, a line from a string method book, a line from a recorder method book, and then a guitar. So that's a really brief introduction to the method books that are available in SmartMusic. Now let's talk recorder, because probably in every general music classroom, either there's a unit about recorder or maybe that's all you do in general music. So we have Recorder Express, Recorder Apprentice. You also have the ability to upload music that you create via Music XML, which is the international file extension for sharing music. Just like you saw in the previous video, one of the things that you could do in your classroom is, if you're working with Recorder, could be display method book lines on the screen and then have them be interactive because they have that accompaniment. You could click on any note and display the fingering for the students. You could play back the accompaniment, so it's more engaging and more fun for the students to practice that way. I already mentioned the fingerings. And then another thing that you could do is assign Recorder Karate type passive exercises. So I have this friend in town whose children are in, I think it's 2nd and 3rd grade, and she was telling me everything about Recorder Karate, which I didn't know was a thing. And we were camping actually, and her son brought the recorder because he was so excited, and then he started playing all these songs and telling me everything about having earned the different belts. So I thought that was awesome, and then I went to Google to find out about Recorder Karate, and I found out that there was an actual method called Recorder Karate. We don't have that particular one, but who knows, maybe one day we'll have it. But you could find a number of different exercises that you could organize into units to do your own Recorder Karate style assessments. So this next video is going to show you a couple of examples. We're going to draw from Recorder Apprentice and from Recorder Express. And I think the very first exercise in the method book, Recorder Karate, is hot cross buns. Well, here's one from one of the method books that we do have, and that would be white belt, I think. And then red belt is twinkle twinkle, and you could grab it from here too and create your own unit. So this is what it would be like. Right now we're looking at the page where you find music. So we're looking at Recorder Apprentice. You can type in the title of the particular song or exercise you're looking for. This is a white belt Recorder Karate exercise, for example, and here it is with accompaniment. And now this next one is going to be from a different book, in this case Recorder Express, and we're going to pull Twinkle Twinkle, which in the Recorder Karate sequence, not that you had to do that particular sequence, you could choose other things, this would be red belt. Now what you're going to see here is a student recording himself and receiving feedback from SmartMusic. So what you have seen is a student actually playing along and being recorded, receiving that immediate feedback, and now they can listen to themselves. You can jump to any spot in the music to listen back. In this case, there's a wrong note in there indicated with red. The student can check on the fingering. The yellow notes are notes that are pitches that are correct. but that are played early or late. And all of that feedback is built into this practice tool. So whether you're using it in the classroom as a demonstration tool, or you're actually giving access to your students to use it for practice, here you can see the power of providing that immediate feedback. All right, so let's see. The next thing that we have here would be singing. And so I'm going to bring in one of my guests today, and this is going to be Ryan, and he's going to talk about singing with SmartMusic. All right, Ryan.
Hi, everybody. So singing is a major part of any general music classroom, and one of the things that SmartMusic can do really well is do exactly what Giovanna was talking about with recorders, is help gamify things so that you can motivate and engage the students. It doesn't have to be this boring thing that they're just looking forward to because they get out of their regular classroom. It becomes something that's fun and that they want to keep doing. One of the most basic things we do with singing is pitch matching or call and response. And that kind of pitch matching is super important no matter what their future in music is. It's the foundation of almost everything we do, whether that's theory or another instrument or recorder or all of that stuff. So being able to transform that into something that kids want to do is shocking, right? But that becomes a way that you can use SmartMusic both in class and at home. And along those lines, you can do what Giovanna was talking about earlier and upload your own music. And one of the things you can do in SmartMusic is actually hide the note heads so that students get to listen and then have to match the pitch.
They'll turn red when you make mistakes and remain hidden when you sing correctly. And then if you're early or late, you'll receive a little yellow feedback. So we'll see a video showing that. We actually have a colleague, somebody that we know that teaches oral skills at Texas State University, and she has used SmartMusic for a long time to teach oral skills to her students. So I took the liberty of borrowing one of her exercises, and that's what we're demonstrating here.
So this gives kids an opportunity to match pitch, and so that means that example may be appropriate for one grade level but not another one, and that's the beauty of being able to upload your own stuff. So you can create in any notation program your own exercises and then hide the notes in SmartMusic and get kids going at exactly the level they're at. And that goes back to the gamifying skill development thing. If kids start at one level and they get a taste of what success feels like, then they'll want to go to the next level right away. And from there, they'll be able to progress with things like pitch matching and call and response much more quickly. One of the other options for getting singing going with SmartMusic in general music is to do some two-part singing or some unison singing. And one of the ways you can do that is by accessing the Find Music tool in SmartMusic. You can go look at all of the options that have two-part singing. And so you'll search two-part in the library, and you can use the difficulty filters to find the stuff that's already in the library at the right grade level, and you'll be able to make sure that kids have access to something that's teaching them to work with another students, doing all that, being accountable for your own part stuff that sometimes gets lost in the shuffle of general music. And so we're choosing the difficulty here. Here are a bunch of unison options. So you can do that in class, or you can give students access to that kind of thing out of class. And so now we're going to pull up a two-part option. You can search two-part again in that search bar at the top, and we'll see how this works with the two parts.
Three of us afloat in the meadow by the spring. Three of us aboard in the basket on the lee. Winds are in the air, they are blowing in the spring, and waves are on the meadow like the waves there are at sea. Where shall we adventure today that we're afloat, weary of the weather and steer?
So again, whether you choose to do this kind of stuff in class to provide that musical context and get kids feeling comfortable with this kind of stuff right off the bat, or whether you send it to them at home, you can try all this stuff out.
Star shining bright in the middle of the night, oh star in the midnight sky. Star shining bright in the middle of the night, how did you learn to fly? How did you learn to fly? Star shining bright in the middle of the night, oh star with a tail of white. Star shining bright.
Last but not least, you can always work on sight singing, and you can do this stuff whether you're focusing on voice for this particular unit or this particular term, or however much voice you do in general music. But even if you're not, right, sight singing is a huge piece. I'm a band person, and sight singing, as much as I avoided it, it's always made me a better musician. So this is the kind of thing that works at any grade level. We've got some great methods in SmartMusic for that. Vocalize is a classic, I think, for that kind of stuff. And I think Giovanna has one more video to show how sight singing works.
Yeah, well, actually, I can share my screen here real quick and show you guys how to find those method books. Okay, so this is SmartMusic on the web, and if you're looking for method books, you would scroll down a little bit and go to the right where it says method books. And all the sight singing and sight reading method books are under this category. Well, if you go to method books, you're going to see all of the method books for all the instruments and the voice types. So if you were to say voice here, for example, I would narrow it down a little bit. But even a better choice would just simply be to go to the sight reading and sight singing category, and then you would see 90 days to sight reading success, another 90 days, patterns of sound, sing at first sight, and all of that. Or if you were to remain in the method books category by simply selecting voice as the instrument type, here we go, you are able to see vocalize and these warm-ups. So you have all of those, and just like the other method books that we displayed before, there's music on screen and there's accompaniments, and you can see the cursor move along, turn my part on, and all of that. Remember that if you have questions, please chat them in to me. So find the little chat bubble above the picture of whoever is talking, whether it's Ryan or it's me, and then send a question to me, and we'll get them answered either as we go or towards the end. So Ryan?
Yeah, so the singing is great, but like I said, I'm a band person, and so it always makes me a little uncomfortable. Rhythmic comprehension, Suzanne's laughing at me because she's a vocalist. So rhythmic comprehension is something that, again, goes all back to the heart of the fundamentals that we teach kids all the time. So whether that's really beginner kids that we're just trying to get through the basics of notation on the very first day of school, or kids that actually need to start working on things like syncopation because they want to be in jazz band next year when they leave general music or something like that, rhythmic comprehension is always a good choice. And SmartMusic has built-in rhythm exercises in addition to the rhythm exercises that are built kind of baked into all those methods we were talking about, including things like sing at first sight. So one of the ways you can do that is by using a rhythm a week or even a rhythm a day. And And so you can provide some continuity from class to class that way. I've seen rhythm a day exercises used as a way to take attendance very subtly, or to greet kids at the door. Kids know that when they arrive at your class, that there's going to be a rhythm on the board, and they should just start clapping. That works a little better with older kids, especially on the elementary level, but providing that routine while also handling curriculum can be a really great way to pair things up. And SmartMusic provides a lot of content that can help with that, including, again, uploading your own options. So if you have a set of rhythms that you've found really, really works, man, every time I show first graders quarter notes this way, everything clicks. You can upload that to SmartMusic and, again, provide that feedback on the board. Yeah, so we're gonna take a look. This one's from Sing at First Sight.
And I don't know if you guys noticed, but the first line, we have the cursor following the beat, and in the second line, we switched it so that the cursor would follow the note.
Hey guys. So we're going to talk about melodic and harmonic comprehension a little bit. One way that's great to kind of get your students' ears working is to have them work on canons in class. That can be something simple, like you guys may have done, like row, row, row your boat. That's a easy way to get students working on their own independence and their own ability to hear their part and be independent that way. But SmartMusic actually has this great book written by Andy Beck, Vocalize the Canon Collection. And this is a really great resource for you guys because it has a really wide range of canons available, so it can work for younger students or older students. And we have some tools within SmartMusic to support your students as they're trying to learn these canons and perform them in class, or even for parents if you have a parents' night or something like that. One of the great features that we have is the loop feature. So that is allowing students to focus in on one particular section. So one thing that I like doing is to make sure that students feel comfortable on the melody first. So they'll be singing in unison, and we'll use the loop function to just circle around on that unison part so that the students feel really comfortable before we try to split them up into their own parts, whether it be 2 or 3 or more. And I also like using a couple other things in that they can engage in physical movement when they are singing along with these canons. It sort of ties back into that rhythmic comprehension as well. Like, we can stomp along or clap along with the rhythm of the assignment, or the canon rather, and just get them sort of engaged and burn off some energy is always a good plan. So the video that we're going to watch is just a little loop where we'll go through and sing that unison twice through. It'll have us just go ahead and sing in unison once, and then I'll have us, if you want to join in, stand up and stomp along. I'm the vocal educator, so I got to have an interactive moment, but so we can stand up and stomp along and just engage in that and think about how your students can think about the rhythmic and have the support of following that cursor that we have as well. So that's pretty fun. So we'll give it a shot and try singing along if you feel up to it. You guys are all muted, so you're fine.
We'll hear you.
So this time we'll start by just singing along together. Sing and rejoice, sing and rejoice, let all things living now sing and rejoice. This time we're going to add that movement. We're going to stomp along with the rhythm. Sing and rejoice, let all things
She actually stood up.
I did. I don't know if you guys could see that, but I did stand up. I did the thing. So that's one way. We can also coordinate, use our bodies if we want to make an arc with our arms to think about rising or falling melody. Maybe we want to jump up high or get down low to, again, engage our bodies and think about the structure and form of the melody. That can be really fun. So plus it's great to give students the opportunity to feel like they've created and collaborated on a piece together and have a little performance by the end of class. So yeah, that's one way we can think about that. Next up, we're going to talk about listening comprehension. So SmartMusic has, a really vast repertoire within it. We can search for things from a variety of different eras within music history to give our students an ability to listen in and hear different composers and the things that they've created. It can also give you a chance to isolate what students are hearing. So with the My Part option, you can hear a particular part pulled out of the texture of an ensemble piece. So if you're trying to teach your students, what woodwinds sound like, you can highlight that particular instrument and say, hey, what family of instruments is this from? And then once you've got the family, can we narrow down, is it a flute? What are we hearing? And it's still within the context of an ensemble so that they're really working on being able to identify those individual timbres, which is pretty cool. You can also talk about musical styles. Like I said, we have a library that includes a lot of different eras within music. So if you're going through music history and giving them some basics within music history, you can see a whole lot there. I think we've got a little video to give you a sampling, so let's check that out. So as you can see, we can kind of run the whole history if we want to and get your students both listening to and seeing the notation that these composers have created, which is pretty cool. The last thing in listening comprehension that I think is pretty fun is to think about musical form. So with this library that we have, we can pull out different forms to kind of teach students what to listen for when we're trying to separate the A section from the B section, or even beyond. So one way to sort of gamify that and get things excited in the classroom is to make it a game of statues. So we can listen to the A section and hear what that sounds like and say, okay, now that we know what that A section sounds like, let's go ahead and have you guys move around or dance, stand up, sit down, whatever you feel like you can handle on that day in terms of movement of your students. And go ahead and let them move around for the A section. And then once the A section is over, once they hear that we've shifted to the B section, have them freeze. And freeze while that other section is going. And if they hear the A section come back, then whatever movement they were doing before, have them engage in that again, so that they have a way to check in with each other, keep each other accountable, and also to support the students who are maybe not hearing it yet. They'll be able to hear it through the repetition, through the collaboration with their peers at that point. So we're going to take a look at a video that goes through the different A and B sections. We've actually got them. Giovanna did a great job of highlighting which section is which with some colors above the notation. So we'll go ahead and take a look at that. So that's just a little look at a way that we could incorporate some listening comprehension for form as well while using SmartMusic. The last thing that I'm going to talk about is that we're going to take a look at musical literacy. So making sure our students know how to write notes and rhythms and all that kind of stuff. So one thing that we have within SmartMusic is its own notation editor. It's only in its beta right now, which is pretty incredible because it's a really useful tool even at this point, but we're hoping to keep improving it, which is pretty fun to contribute to. So one thing that we're going to take a look at is how to enter in notes. If you have a smartboard in your classroom, you can have your students come up and enter in their own notes or rhythms within that notation editor and hear it played back, which is really great to coordinate both that visual learning and the aural learning as well. Even if you don't have a SmartMusic, you just have maybe a projector in your computer, you can have students come up to your classroom computer and enter in notes as well, so that they're contributing to creating something together, which is pretty fun. I think we're going to take a look at that video to kind of see how that process works when you're entering your own music in our notation editor. So if you're using, you can also use a MIDI keyboard. So if you have one of those available, you can plug that into your computer and have students come up and play notes on the keyboard, which can be pretty fun to connect that to what they're seeing on screen as well. They have the ability to select any of those, different types of notes. And they can come up, if you've got that smartboard, they can come up and press that note right on the screen if you have the MIDI keyboard up on the screen. So whether that is you entering notes or your students entering notes, they'll be able to connect sort of those rhythmic values that they're seeing with what you can play back through SmartMusic once you've created the line. Maybe even you want to try including, say, hey, let's try to write out as many words as we can think. So students can come up and write out, face, take an easy one, or egg, or something like that, so that we're including, regular literacy comprehension skills that they're working on in their other classes, and they can feel proud of completing that within the musical context as well. And beyond just the rhythmic values, of course, we can focus in on different clefs and note names and all that. So it's a great way to get your students sort of engaged during the class in this sort of collaborative creation process, so that they can create a melody together and hear what it sounds like.
Yes, thank you so much, Ryan and Suzanne. You guys have shared a lot of really valuable information. So we're almost at the end of our presentation today. I do want to address a couple questions that came in, and also let you know that if you continue to have questions, to please chat them in so that we can get them answered. The first one was, are the sight singing materials available at music stores or just online? So everything that we have in SmartMusic is licensed content, meaning that we work with publishers and they allow us to put their music on screen, which means that yes, you can go to the store and buy the same book. So you can have the printed materials in your classroom and then use SmartMusic as a presentation tool if you're using it in the classroom. Or if you want to give access to the students to practice at home, they can also still have the printed material and the online or digital version, which SmartMusic basically would be. I hope that answers that question. The other question that came in was, are all the listening examples synthesized like this? I think the person that asked this question was referring to the video where we were playing the different music history examples, and we turned my part on and we could hear that sound. So the my part sounds are sampled, and they're part of the Garriton library of sounds that we have. SmartMusic and Finale are part of the same umbrella company called Make Music. So those sounds, when you turn My Part on, are all sampled sounds from the Garriton library. But as you heard, the recordings in the background, the MP3 recordings, those are actual musicians that have recorded those pieces, and we have synchronized the recording to the notation. So I hope that kind of answers the question. Are there any other questions? Well, maybe a few more will come in. So you can do all of this for just $40 a year for the teacher subscription. You can have all of these tools and all of these materials at your fingertips. If beyond that you want to allow your students to have access to SmartMusic so they can practice along with the tool, receive that immediate feedback, and you can start sending them assignments with that content. Think back to, for example, that recorded karate. You could still have the students come in and knock on your door to earn their belt, but they could be practicing with this support online. The different levels of access are basic for $4 per student per year. That gives students access to all the method books, anything that you upload, and essential content such as exercises, sight reading tools, and some state scales. For $8 per student per year, the students would have access to anything that you assign in the entire catalog. You, of course, always have access to everything. And then for $12 per student per year, students can access the entire catalog regardless of you sending them assignments. So if they're into music exploration, if they want to find the newest song from Star Wars, or what was the most recent one we just added that everyone was going crazy about? Yeah, that's there, and they can explore it on their own if they do that premium level subscription. So we're pretty much almost at the end. Any other questions? Okay, I guess not. So if you're interested in giving SmartMusic a try, go to the URL that you see on screen. That's smartmusic.com/Chromebook-giveaway. That will give you a chance to be entered for an opportunity to win a free Chromebook. That's a promotion that if you sign up before June 30th, you'll be entered for that chance to win. Otherwise, you can always go to smartmusic.com and click the Start Free Trial, and you can check it out. We issue 30 days full access trials for people so that you can see all the content that's available in there. If you click on that link that I mentioned, and I'm just going to type it in real quick in the chat window for everyone. That's www.smartmusic.com/Chromebook-giveaway. There. If you click on that, you will be taken to this page, and then from there you can request your free trial. Know that this webinar is being recorded, and we have done a series of, I think, 12 or 13. This is the last one for now. We'll pick them up again in August. Every webinar that we have done is archived on the SmartMusic YouTube channel, so you can go back and check them out. If there was material that you found really interesting here and you want to revisit it, or you joined in late and you missed some part of this webinar, don't fret, because we're going to process this video as well and then send you a thank you email with a link to it, and then it'll be on the YouTube channel so you can watch it as many times as you want at your convenience. Okay. Also, if you need to reach us, we're on all of those social media channels, and your guy is right on screen. Ryan, say something so your head pops. Ryan will be responding. Yeah. All right. Somebody asked, where is the recorder sound? I could not find it. Do you mean, Sheila, you could not find a recorder method, or you couldn't find the recorder sound in a specific title? Oh, in Garriton. Suzanne, do you know how to find it in Garriton? So I'm assuming, Sheila, that you have Finale open and you're trying to create a score for recorder. Okay, while she types her answer, oh, she said yes. Okay. Maybe Suzanne has an answer for that. In the meantime, I will answer this other question. It says, if a student pays $4 for a subscription, they then get access to both recorded books mentioned, or do they still have to purchase the hard copy book? Okay, so this is a great question, and that's a two-part answer. So currently, those subscription levels that I showed you, the $4, the $8, and the $12 right here, are available for students with an institutional purchase. Okay, meaning the teacher wants to buy access for the students, whether that is through activity funds or school budget funds or collecting fee from the parents. It's an institutional purchase. We're working on allowing individual purchases on our website. That's forthcoming. It's not quite available yet. So that's part A of the answer. Part B of the answer is, yes, if they paid the $4, they would have access to not just the recorder method books that you saw there, but all of the method books that are available in SmartMusic. Okay, I hope that answers the question. Let's see. Okay, Suzanne said, for Sheila's question, use the setup wizard, and the recorder sounds are available under Woodwinds. Hope that answers the question. Somebody else asked, is there a professional development certificate for watching this webinar? Yes, I can send you a one-off if you email me at training@makemusic.com. That's training@makemusic.com. Email me there and ask for the certificate, and then I'll email it back to you. Let's see, would they be able to, I'm assuming they as students, would they be able to access the subscription information on a simple device such as Chromebook? Yes, they will be. That's the beauty of SmartMusic, this web-based version. Because it is web-based, you don't need to install anything, and we created it especially with Chromebooks in mind. So absolutely, yes. All right, I guess no more. Of course, if you have additional questions, again, you can reach us through our social media channels. You can write to training@makemusic.com. Thank you so much for being here today. Thank you for your questions. Thank you for your time. Thank you, Ryan, and thank you, Suzanne.
Thanks, everybody. Have a good summer.
Yeah, happy summer.
All right. Thank you, everyone. Bye-bye.